I moved out and spent years grinding at my job to have my first apartment. Then my parents insisted I should give it to my sister who still lived with them just because she appreciates the family more. I'm sitting in my apartment right now, the one I worked my butt off to buy, staring at yet another text from my mother about how I don't appreciate anything in life. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm being called ungrateful while sitting in the home I purchased with zero help from anyone after years of being told I'd never amount to anything. I'm James, 28 male, and apparently the family disappointment. My sister Sarah, 26 female, is the golden child who appreciates everything she's given and knows the value of family support. The same family support that mysteriously dried up when it came to me. Let me paint you a picture of my childhood. Sarah and I are only 2 years apart, but you'd think we were raised in different families. When Sarah wanted piano lessons, our parents found the money. When I wanted to join the robotics club that had a $50 fee, suddenly we were going through a tough time financially. When Sarah graduated high school, they threw her a party with 100 guests. When I graduated as valedictorian, we went to Applebee's and I paid for my own meal because I had just gotten my first paycheck from my part-time job. The pattern continued through college. Sarah went to her dream school with parents covering what scholarships didn't. I went to community college for 2 years, then transferred to a state school working 3 jobs to pay my way through. Every family dinner I'd hear about how Sarah was making them so proud while I got lectures about how I needed to stop acting so superior and learn to be grateful for what I have. What I had was student loan debt and exhaustion. But I pushed through, got my degree in computer science, landed a job at a startup that actually went somewhere, saved every penny I could. Lived with 4 roommates in a shoebox for 3 years. Ate ramen more times than I care to remember. Meanwhile, Sarah moved back home after college rent-free while she figured things out. 2 years ago, I finally had enough for a down payment on a small 1-bedroom apartment in the city. Nothing fancy, 650 square feet. Needs some work, but it's mine. The day I closed, I stupidly thought my parents might actually be proud. Instead, my mother's first comment was, "Well, I hope you're grateful to have the opportunity to buy property. Not everyone is so lucky." Lucky, right? Because luck is what got me here. Not the 70-hour weeks and the side hustles and the nights I went to bed hungry so I could put another $100 in savings. Sarah's been figuring things out for 4 years now. She's had 6 different jobs, none lasting more than 6 months because they were toxic or didn't appreciate her value. She's currently unemployed again, posting inspirational quotes on Instagram about knowing your worth and gratitude journaling. Our parents pay her credit card bills and she drives their car. Last month, things started getting weird. Sarah began making comments about how cramped it is at our parents' house, how she's ready for independence, but the rental market is so unfair to people just starting out. Mind you, she's 26 and has never paid rent in her life. Then came dinner last Sunday. I should have known something was up when my mother actually cooked my favorite meal. Halfway through, she started her usual speech about gratitude, but this time with a twist. "James, we need to talk about your attitude," she said. "Your father and I are concerned about how ungrateful you've become." I set down my fork. Ungrateful for what exactly? For everything. For the life you have. The opportunities you've been given. What opportunities I interrupted. The opportunity to work 3 jobs through college. The opportunity to be told I'm not grateful enough while I pay my own way through life. My father jumped in. "See, this is exactly what we mean. That tone, that superiority. Your sister would never speak to us like this." Sarah sat there doing her best impression of a saint, nodding along with practiced sadness in her eyes. "Sarah appreciates what she has," my mother continued. "She's grateful for our support. She understands the value of family." "I understand the value of family," I said. "I just don't understand why that value only flows one direction." That's when Sarah spoke up, voice soft and wounded. "I've been thinking about getting my own place, but it's just so hard out there. The deposits, the credit checks, the proof of income." She sighed dramatically. "I was looking at apartments like yours, James. Just a small place, nothing fancy. It must be so nice to have that security." My mother reached over and patted her hand. "It's disgusting how landlords take advantage of young people trying to get started." Meanwhile, Sarah continued, "There's James with a whole apartment all to himself. More space than one person needs." Really? The room went quiet. I looked between the 3 of them, waiting for someone to laugh to indicate this was some kind of joke. Nobody did. "Are you seriously suggesting I should give Sarah my apartment?" I asked. "Not give," my mother said quickly, "but maybe share or help her out. Family helps family, James. And someone who was truly grateful for what they have would want to help their sister. I stood up. I'm grateful for what I have because I earned it. Every square foot of that apartment represents hours of my life. I worked for it. That's not ingratitude. That's understanding value. You see, my father said to my mother, I told you he'd be selfish about it. I left without finishing dinner. That was 5 days ago. Since then, I've received 47 text messages about how I'm breaking my mother's heart, 3 emails with apartment listings for studio apartments. If I insist on living alone, 12 missed calls from various family members who've been told I'm hoarding resources, and 1 Facebook post from Sarah about how blessed she is to have parents who understand that family means sacrifice. I'm exhausted. I've worked so hard to get where I am, and it's never enough. I'm never grateful enough, never generous enough, never enough, period. And now they want me to prove my gratitude by giving up the one thing I've managed to achieve on my own. I don't know what to do anymore. Am I really the ungrateful son they make me out to be? Should I be doing more to help my sister, or is this as insane as it feels? Update 1. 2 weeks later. Well, things have escalated in ways I didn't think possible. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. Your comments helped me realize I'm not crazy, though. My family is certainly trying to make me feel that way. After I posted, I decided to go low contact for a while. I needed space to think without the constant barrage of guilt. That lasted exactly 3 days before Sarah showed up at my apartment building. She was standing outside when I got home from work holding a coffee and looking like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Hey, big brother, she said. I thought we should talk, just the two of us. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She made a big show of looking around, commenting on everything. Oh, this is nice. So much natural light. Is that a dishwasher? Mom and Dad's dishwasher has been broken for months. And look at all this closet space. She settled onto my couch like she owned it. I wanted to apologize for dinner. I didn't mean for things to get so tense. Really, I said. Because it seemed pretty orchestrated to me. She gave me this wounded look she's perfected over the years. James, I'm hurt. You'd think that. I was just sharing my feelings. Is it wrong to want independence? To want what you have, what I have, I worked for? I know that she said, though her tone suggested otherwise. But you have to admit you had advantages I didn't. I nearly choked on my water. What advantages? You're a man, for one. It's easier for men in tech. And you were always naturally good at school. I had to work harder just to pass. Sarah, you had Mom and Dad pay for tutors. I taught myself from library books. She waved this away. That's not the point. The point is we both want to be independent, but the system is rigged against people like me, creative types, empaths. We don't fit into the corporate machine like you do. So get a job that pays the bills while you pursue your creative interests on the side. That's what most people do. Her face scrunched up. That's so limiting. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my authenticity just to survive. That's what's wrong with society. People like you just accept it instead of demanding better. People like me. People who've forgotten what it's like to struggle. Who hoard resources instead of sharing with those who need them. I haven't forgotten anything. I remember every double shift, every skipped meal, every God. You're so dramatic, she interrupted. Poor James had to work for things. Meanwhile, I'm literally homeless. You live with our parents rent-free. That's basically homeless for someone my age. Do you know how humiliating it is to bring dates back to my childhood bedroom, to have Mom commenting on my life choices every day? You escaped. You got out. And now you want to keep me trapped there. She stayed another hour, alternating between guilt trips and thinly veiled threats. How concerned our parents were about my mental health and my inability to maintain family relationships. How they were thinking about getting me help for my hoarding tendencies and antisocial behavior. After she left, I installed a Ring doorbell. That was Monday. By Wednesday, the campaign had intensified. My aunt called to tell me she was praying for my soul. My uncle sent a long email about how he'd let his brother live with him for 6 months when they were young, and it was the best thing he ever did for family unity. My cousin texted asking if it was true I had a whole empty bedroom I was refusing to share. I don't. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. The extra room they're referring to is my 8x10 home office. Thursday, my mother called my employer. Let that sink in. My mother called my boss to discuss her concerns about my mental state and how my family issues might be affecting my work performance. Fortunately, my boss is a decent human being who immediately told her the call was inappropriate and hung up. But the damage was done. Now I have to have a conversation with HR about potential security issues and whether I need to provide emergency contact updates. Friday, I came home to find Sarah had been by. How do I know? Because she left a gift basket outside my door with a note. The basket contained a book on breaking free from scarcity mindset, a gratitude journal, essential oils for emotional healing, a coffee mug that says sharing is caring, and a handwritten letter. The letter was 3 pages of pure manipulation. How she's worried about my soul, how holding on to material possessions is blocking my spiritual growth, how she's been manifesting abundance and her spirit guides told her she's meant to live in my apartment. I wish I was making that up. She ended with, "I've already started packing because I believe in the power of positive thinking. I know your heart will open soon. I'm ready to move in whenever you're ready to share." I'd be so grateful, unlike some people who take their blessings for granted. I took photos of everything and saved the letter. Something tells me I'm going to need documentation. The weekend brought a new development. My parents invited themselves over for coffee. They wanted to see the space to better understand the situation. I declined. This led to my mother showing up anyway, buzzing every apartment until someone let her in. "I just want to understand why you're being so stubborn," she said through my door. "Sarah would appreciate this place. She'd be grateful every single day. She'd probably even invite us over for dinner." I didn't open the door. Eventually, building security escorted her out. I'm now getting daily updates from various family members about Sarah's deteriorating mental health due to her housing insecurity. Apparently, she started a vision board with pictures of my apartment on it. She's told her friends she's moving soon. She's even started declining job interviews because they're too far from where I'll be living. The entitlement is staggering. But what's worse is how my entire family has bought into this narrative where I'm the villain hoarding resources while poor Sarah suffers. Nobody seems to remember that I worked for this, that I sacrificed for this, that this apartment represents years of my life, but sure, I'm the ungrateful one. Update 2. 1 month later. The last month has been a masterclass in family manipulation, and I've been taking notes, literally. I started documenting everything because the gaslighting was getting so intense I was starting to question my own memory. It started with the interventions. Yes, plural. The first one was disguised as a cousin's birthday dinner. I should have known something was up when Sarah RSVP yes to a party. She usually flakes on family events unless they're about her. Halfway through dinner, my aunt stood up with a prepared speech about family values and the importance of generosity. Then, one by one, family members shared how concerned they were about my selfishness. My cousin Michael talked about how he'd shared his Xbox with his brother growing up. My aunt reminisced about how her grandmother housed 12 people during the Depression. My uncle shared a Bible verse about camels and needles. Sarah sat there with tears rolling down her cheeks, occasionally whispering, "I just want to be independent," to whoever was sitting next to her. When it was my turn to speak, I said, "This isn't about sharing toys or temporary hardship. This is about my home, the apartment I bought with money I earned. If Sarah wants independence, she can achieve it the same way I did by working for it." "But the market is different now," Sarah wailed. "It's impossible for people like me." "People like you," I asked. "Creatives, empaths, people who prioritize meaning over money." My mother nodded sympathetically. "She's right, James. Your generation had it easier. I'm 2 years older than her." The dinner devolved from there. I left early, but not before my uncle cornered me to say he was disappointed, and that my grandparents would be rolling in their graves at my selfishness. The second intervention was more subtle. My father asked me to help him move some furniture. When I arrived, it was just him, my mother, and Sarah in an empty room. They'd rehearsed this one. "Son," my father started. "We've failed you somehow. We must have for you to turn out so cold." My mother dabbed at her eyes. "Where did we go wrong?" "We tried to raise both our children with values," Sarah chimed in. "I don't blame you, Mom. Some people are just born without natural empathy. It's not your fault. James is." She trailed off delicately. "Is what I demanded." "Different," she said softly. "Unable to feel what others feel. It's actually sad. I feel sorry for you, James. Living alone in that apartment, no real connections, hoarding your resources like some kind of dragon." I walked out, but the seed was planted. Was there something wrong with me? Was I really the cold, unfeeling person they painted me as? Then came the social media campaign. Sarah started posting daily pictures of her cramped childhood bedroom with captions like, "Grateful for any roof over my head," "Folded hands, blessed family first." Photos of apartment listings with one-day glowing star manifesting independence, grateful heart. Inspirational quotes about how the universe provides for grateful hearts and those who share receive abundance tenfold. My mother shared every post with comments like, "So proud of your grateful heart, sweetie, and your positive attitude inspires me daily." Other relatives piled on with hearts and prayer hands emojis. Then Sarah escalated. She started a GoFundMe. Help a grateful heart find housing, the title read. In the description, she painted herself as a struggling creative who'd been let down by the system and was just looking for a chance to prove herself. She mentioned having a brother who was successful in tech but was unable to help due to his own struggles with empathy and connection. She raised $3,000 in 2 weeks from my own relatives. When I confronted my parents about it, my mother said, "Well, if you won't help her, what choice does she have? At least other people understand gratitude." The parking started 2 weeks ago. Sarah would park outside my building and just sit there. Sometimes she'd be on her phone, sometimes reading, sometimes just staring at my window. When I confronted her, she said she was visualizing her future and I couldn't police where she parked on public streets. Building management said they couldn't do anything unless she tried to enter the building. So she got smarter. She started timing when residents would go in and out, slipping in behind them. She'd wander the halls, knock on my door, just to chat, leave little notes and gifts. The gifts got progressively weirder. A key holder shaped like a house with "home" is where the heart is engraved on it. A doormat that said, "Welcome to our home." A plant with a note to help our apartment feel more alive. A copy of her apartment key from our parents' house with a sticky note in case you want to see how the other half lives. Last week I found out she'd contacted my landlord. Pretended to be my girlfriend who'd lost her key trying to get a copy made. Fortunately, my landlord called me to verify, but it was close. Then came the nuclear option. My parents called to inform me they were updating their will. Previously, everything was to be split 50-50 between Sarah and me. Now, because of my clear financial success and Sarah's ongoing struggles, they felt it was only fair to leave everything to her. "You already have an apartment," my father said. "Sarah has nothing. This will even things out." Besides, my mother added, "You've made it clear you don't need family support, so why would you need an inheritance?" The subtext was obvious. Give Sarah the apartment or lose your inheritance. The thing is, I never counted on an inheritance anyway. I've built my life assuming I'd get nothing from them because that's what I've always gotten. But Sarah knew exactly what she was doing. That night she texted, "I hope you know I tried to talk them out of changing the will. I told them it wasn't fair to you, but they said you've made your choice. It's not too late to fix this. You know we could be roommates. Wouldn't that be fun?" I promise I'd be the most grateful roommate ever. I didn't respond. But I did call a lawyer. The harassment has escalated. Daily texts from family members. Sarah started telling people we've agreed to a trial period of her living with me. My mother told her book club I'm coming around and will do the right thing soon. I've had relatives I haven't spoken to in years reaching out to congratulate me on finally showing family values. Meanwhile, I've installed extra lock security cameras and started the process of getting a restraining order. The lawyer says I have a strong case, especially with all the documentation. But part of me still wonders, am I the heir? Am I really the ungrateful son they say I am? Or is this what it looks like when you refuse to enable a golden child who's never been told no? I guess I'll find out soon. My mother just texted that they want to have a final family meeting this weekend to resolve this once and for all. The fact that she called it final doesn't feel like a coincidence. Update 3. 3 weeks later. The final family meeting was everything I expected and worse. But something shifted in me between receiving that text and walking into my parents' house. I realized I'd been so focused on defending myself against their accusations of ingratitude that I'd missed the bigger picture. They were never going to see me as anything other than the ungrateful son. So why keep trying? I arrived at the meeting prepared. Legal documents in my briefcase, recording app on my phone, legal in my state, and a clear head. The whole family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even my grandmother who'd flown in from Florida. Sarah had staged the living room like a courtroom with her sitting in my father's recliner like she was holding court. My mother started with tears already in her eyes. "James, we're all here because we love you and we're concerned about the person you've become." "The person I've become," I repeated slowly. "You mean employed, independent, self-sufficient, cold?" My grandmother interjected. "You've become cold, James. Where's the sweet boy who used to share his Halloween candy with his sister? He grew up and realized his sister was taking all the good pieces and leaving him with the Smarties," I said. Sarah gasped. "I can't believe you're still holding on to childhood resentments." "I'm not. I'm pointing out a pattern that started with Halloween candy and apparently ends with real estate." My father stood up. "Enough, James. This is simple. Your sister needs help. You have the means to help her. The fact that you refuse shows us who you really are. And who is that? Someone who values money over family. Someone who hoards resources while his sister struggles. Someone who worked 70-hour weeks while Sarah posted inspirational quotes on Instagram, I interrupted. Someone who paid his own way through school while Sarah got a free ride. Someone who bought his own place while Sarah refused every job that didn't align with her values. My aunt clutched her pearls. Listen to yourself. So bitter. So ungrateful. That's when I laughed. Actually laughed. You know what? You're right. I am ungrateful. I'm ungrateful for parents who see my success as something to be redistributed rather than celebrated. I'm ungrateful for a sister who views my hard work as her safety net. I'm ungrateful for a family that calls me selfish for keeping what I earned. The room went silent. But mostly I continued, I'm ungrateful for years of being told I'm not enough. Not grateful enough. Not generous enough. Not family-oriented enough. So let me make this crystal clear. I will never ever give Sarah my apartment. Not as a gift, not as a loan, not as a shared space. Never. Sarah burst into tears. I knew it. I told you all he hated me. He's always hated me. I don't hate you, Sarah. I nothing you. You're just another entitled person who thinks the world owes her something. The only difference is we share DNA. My mother stood up shaking. If you walk out that door without agreeing to help your sister, you're no longer welcome in this family. I pulled out the folder from my briefcase. I figured you'd say that, so I came prepared. I handed out copies to everyone. This is a cease and desist letter from my attorney. Sarah is to stop coming to my building, stop contacting my employer, stop spreading false information about me on social media, and stop attempting to access my apartment. Any violation will result in a restraining order and potential legal action. The room erupted. Accusations flew. How could I involve lawyers in a family matter? How could I be so cruel, so unfeeling, so ungrateful? Sarah snatched the letter, read it, and her face went pale. You're serious? You're actually choosing your apartment over your family. No, I corrected. I'm choosing my self-respect over your entitlement. There's a difference. I stood to leave. My father blocked the door. You're making a mistake, son. Family is forever. That apartment is just stuff. That stuff represents years of my life. Hours worked, meals skipped, sacrifices made. If family is forever, where was that family when I was struggling? Where was that family when I needed help? Oh, right. They were too busy making sure Sarah had everything she needed. We did our best, my mother wailed. No, you did your best for Sarah. For me, you did the minimum. And now you want me to be grateful for that. Fine. Thank you for the minimum. Thank you for teaching me to rely on myself. Thank you for showing me that family love comes with conditions and price tags. I'm grateful for all of it because it made me who I am, someone who doesn't need you. I pushed past my father and left. Behind me, I could hear Sarah screaming about how I was ruining her life and my mother sobbing about where she went wrong. My phone started buzzing before I even reached my car. Texts, calls, voicemails, I turned it off. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, Sarah violated the cease and desist within 48 hours by showing up at my building. I called the police. She was issued a warning. She violated it again by having flying monkeys contact my employer. I filed for a restraining order. It was granted. My parents officially disinherited me and sent a formal letter stating I was no longer part of the family. I framed it. Various relatives have reached out to tell me I'll regret this when my parents are gone. I asked them where this concern for regret was when I was working 3 jobs to pay for college. Sarah started a new GoFundMe, claiming she was escaping an abusive situation and needed funds for housing. It was taken down after I provided evidence of her harassment, as she's now living with our aunt, who's already complaining on Facebook about Sarah's temporary stay extending indefinitely. I've changed my locks, upgraded my security system, and started therapy to deal with a lifetime of gaslighting I apparently normalized. My therapist says I'm not ungrateful. I'm just done. Done trying to earn love that should be freely given. Done being the scapegoat for Sarah's failures. Done apologizing for my success. My apartment is peaceful now. No surprise visitors, no manipulation disguised as concern, no guilt trips over Sunday dinner, just me, my space, and the satisfaction of knowing I earned every square foot of it. I've started reaching out to friends I distanced myself from because my family didn't approve. I'm dating someone new who can't believe my family expected me to give away my home. I'm even considering a promotion that would require relocation, something I never would have considered before because family stays close. The other day, I ran into a mutual friend who'd heard Sarah's version of events. Is it true you made your sister homeless? She asked, eyes wide with judgment. No, I said simply. I just stopped being her safety net. She's an adult with parents who coddle her relatives who fund her and a college degree she refuses to use. If that equals homelessness, that's a choice she's making. But she's your sister, and I'm her brother. Funny how that relationship only goes one way. The friend huffed and walked away, probably to report back to Sarah. I don't care. I'm done caring what they think. Done defending myself. Done trying to prove I'm grateful enough. Because here's what I've learned. They don't want my gratitude. They want my submission. They want me to be grateful for the scraps while Sarah gets the feast. They want me to work hard so Sarah doesn't have to. They want me to achieve so Sarah has something to claim. Well, they can want all they like. This ungrateful son is done giving. My apartment is small, but it's mine. My family is gone, but they were never really mine anyway. My future is uncertain, but for the first time, it's actually mine to decide. And for that, I'm genuinely, authentically, unapologetically grateful. Final update. 3 months later. I wasn't planning to update again, but something happened yesterday that felt like the universe's way of saying, you made the right choice. So here we are. First, let me catch you up on the last 3 months. Life without my family's constant criticism has been enlightening. I didn't realize how much energy I was spending defending myself until I stopped. My work performance improved so much I got promoted. My anxiety, which I'd attributed to work stress, virtually disappeared. Turns out it was family stress all along. Sarah, from what I hear through the grapevine, has been kicked out of 3 relatives' homes. The pattern is always the same. She moves in temporarily, refuses to contribute or follow house rules, creates drama, and gets asked to leave. She's currently couch surfing and telling anyone who listens that I ruined her life by being too selfish to share. My parents sold their house. Apparently supporting Sarah's lifestyle while retired wasn't sustainable. They're now in a small apartment, still funding her daily Starbucks and yoga classes, still convinced she just needs the right opportunity. They've told everyone they downsized by choice to simplify their lives, not because their golden child bled them dry. I know all this, not because I've been in contact, but because relatives periodically reach out to update me, always ending with some variation of, "Don't you feel guilty?" No, I don't. I feel free. But yesterday was chef's kiss perfect. I was having lunch at a cafe near my office when I heard a familiar voice. Sarah at the table behind me on what was clearly a job interview. I kept my back turned and listened. "I'm just looking for a company that values authenticity," she was saying. My last few positions weren't good fits because they expected me to compromise my values for corporate profit. The interviewer asked about her work history, noting the gaps. "Oh, I've been dealing with some family trauma," Sarah said, her voice dripping with practiced sorrow. "My brother? He's in tech, very successful. He basically made me homeless. I've been focused on healing and gratitude work, but I'm ready to channel that pain into productivity." The interviewer made non-committal sounds and asked about her skills. "I bring emotional intelligence, creativity, and gratitude to everything I do. I believe in manifesting success through positive energy rather than toxic hustle culture." That's interesting. But what about practical skills? The posting mentioned Excel proficiency, project management experience. Oh, I don't believe in limiting myself with labels like proficient or experienced. I'm a quick learner when I'm passionate about something. The interview didn't last much longer. After the interviewer left, I heard Sarah on the phone, presumably with our mother. Another toxic interviewer. They were so focused on experience and skills. "I know, Mom. I'm too authentic for these corporate drones. No, I can't take a minimum wage job. That would be going backwards. The universe has bigger plans for me." Then she said something that made me glad I was recording on my phone. "Habit now. Maybe I should try again with James. He seemed close to breaking at the family meeting. If I just show up enough times, he'll have to let me in. Possession is 9/10 of the law, right? Once I'm in there, it'll be harder to get me out." I paid my check and left before she could spot me. But I sent the recording to my lawyer just in case. Last night I had dinner with my girlfriend Rebecca, who's been incredibly patient with this whole saga. She asked me something no one in my family ever did. "Are you happy I thought about it?" My apartment, small as it is my sanctuary. My job, demanding as it is rewarding. My relationship, new as it is healthy. My bank account, modest as it is growing. My life, imperfect as it is mine. "Yeah," I said. "I really am." "Then you did the right thing," she said simply. This morning I woke up to a text from an unknown number. It was a cousin I haven't heard from in years. "Hey James, heard about everything with Sarah. Same thing happened with my brother 10 years ago. Parents enabled him until they couldn't anymore." I walked away. Best decision ever. Proud of you. Turns out there's a whole underground network of black sheep who've escaped family dysfunction. We're planning to meet up next week. The Ungrateful Kids Club, we're calling it. I still get moments of doubt when I see happy families on social media, when coworkers talk about Sunday dinners with their parents, when I realize I'll probably never meet my future nieces or nephews. But then I remember the family I lost wasn't the family in those pictures. It was a family that saw me as a resource, not a person. Sarah's still out there, probably at another cafe manifesting an apartment she'll never work for. My parents are still enabling, still wondering where they went wrong with me while blind to where they went wrong with her. The relatives are still gossiping, still judging, still waiting for me to come to my senses. And me, I'm still here, still working, still building, still grateful, just not for the things they wanted me to be grateful for. I'm grateful I learned early that love shouldn't come with a price tag. I'm grateful I discovered the difference between family and relatives. I'm grateful I chose myself when no one else would. Most of all, I'm grateful for that tiny apartment that started this whole war. It's more than just 650 square feet. It's proof that I can take care of myself, that I don't need their approval, that I'm enough just as I am. So, to anyone reading this who's being called selfish for protecting what they've earned, ungrateful for wanting boundaries, or cold for refusing to enable, you're not crazy. You're not mean. You're not broken. You're just done. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Trust me. From one ungrateful child to another, the view from the other side is worth it.